Hello, friends. I'm Taago. As it was mentioned, I'm working in Katana manufacturing software, and I am going to tell you today a little bit about often overlooked aspect of product management, which is storytelling. And I'm going to explain a little bit why it matters and how it matters. So, storytelling. Why it's important, I will tell you a little bit later, not necessarily now. But I want to get to the stories first. So let's imagine how children play, how the games start for the children. They will learn from each other's behavior. They will see the roles that other children take when they play some games. We don't do that as adults anymore very much. And this is why we often misunderstand each other. We don't see the same things that other people see because we have different experience. And children also learn by doing. I will get to that point as well. And what children also have a lot is empathy. So this is what we want to bring in our stories as well, understanding the perception of the people who are listening to us and trying to deliver the point we want to tell to them via the stories. And actually, you don't have to be born with a sense of empathy. It can be taught. And while learning that, you can really benefit from empathy, from the stories. And then, if you want to learn that, what makes a good story? A good story can be either fun. We probably, if you remember movies you have been watching, the comedies are the ones that get most often quoted. Even if you don't want to, you will remember the quotes from the comedies. Of course, the deep movies, smart people remember quotes from there as well, but they don't go into you the way comedies do. That's what fun does. And another point that delivers is fear. Yeah, we know we are not supposed to talk about death. But if you want to deliver a point how to save someone's life, you have to talk about death. Death brings fear. Fear makes you remember things. And then there's roles. As I mentioned with kids, roles teach other people to behave or to understand the behavior of different mindsets. And this is how you also can learn. And what about audience? If you think about the audience who is listening to you, kids usually, well, they have the same kind of background, but with adults, we don't share the same background. I am coming from long experience in manufacturing, but when I'm talking to people who are software developers, they have no background of manufacturing. How should they understand the people who are working in manufacturing without the background, without the roles, without understanding how the things happen there? So that's why with audience, you really need to think what you want to tell to them and how you want them to understand what you have to tell to them. And in Katana, we have some stories that we have learned from manufacturers. We build Legos. Yes, it's an actual thing, and adults do that. But we build Legos because of learning by doing. And after that, you will get kind of background stories that make you understand why it mattered, or what it was that you felt while you were building these, because we put them into the exact shoes of the manufacturers throughout their life cycle. And with onboarding people, that's now when I should switch the slide. With onboarding people, we do want them to understand the pain of our customers. Our customers are manufacturers. So we do them, as I mentioned already, Lego games. So they will have the lifecycle experience before. Then we will explain them the roles that manufacturers have. And each role has its own story, but we usually put it into kind of real-world scenario. So if we want to talk about manufacturing manager role in real-life terms, you can show a picture to your audience of a burning field, and the guy has 2 canisters of water to distinguish this burning field. And there are angry lots coming around him from management to the supply chain, and these are the roles we want to teach to these people to get them understand, oh, I felt that in that same Lego game we played. And this gives them immediately the sense of what it feels like to be there. So later on, they will remember exactly these moments back from the early days in Katana, when they have the questions from customers, when they have the questions from design teams, when they have questions from customer experience teams, how these things should be. Oh, this burning field. Yeah, I remember that. And also, these stories often, they come from the user interviews. Our product managers do them often and try to relate their experience with the user's description of their troubles. And what the experience is. Experience is a set of stories. Because these are the real-life events you have experienced. And you can forward these stories to the people. And these are actually the roles that make up manufacturing. And now, when onboarding is done, then what we tell to the whole company, I'll get to that. While onboarding part can be always repeated in Katana, then when the audience is the whole company who wants to know something about the new feature that I am building, that any other product manager is building, not that we are actually building things, but yeah, that's another story. Then this kind of thing, this kind of presentation or storytelling is always remade. And for me, personally, this is the part where I bring in the fun, just for the people to remember through the fun what I try to tell them. And basically, remember, quotes will stick from comedies. And what can this kind of presentation or storytelling include? Everything will work. I have played with dolls. I have baked live in video to deliver the point. I have used cartoon characters, like the One Eye Guy's minions, exactly. And then, basically, as I said, anything will do. And I really am not ashamed of being a puppet master in our company. I delivered the point. That's all that matters. Would I do it for strangers with Barbie dolls? Probably not yet. I'm not that confident yet. And I have actually fun story also about this doll show. I played with Barbie dolls once in front of our company to deliver the stories about one feature, and I accidentally gave one Barbie doll a name called Melissa. And this was the first day of a person called Melissa in Katana. I didn't know that. And yeah, that has been stuck ever since. So accidentally, through stories, you can also make people remember something. And what other benefit that brought when I played with dolls was that people are not afraid to approach me. Be whatever role in the company you are, a guy who is playing with dolls, you can't be afraid of that guy. And when we're talking about the close team and the point that I want to deliver to my team, that means that the people who are actually delivering new features, then not only building, they are also designing, they are also marketing the new features of the product. They are often very sympathetic people toward their end user. I can't say this for all companies, but software companies who are building their own products, the people are really engaged. That's also the case with engineers, with designers, with marketing people. They want to understand, they want to know, because they have the sense of mission. Like teachers, they also have a sense of mission. And it's the same thing. They would do things if I order them to do things. But it's not the same. You can see from the picture. If I order them to do something, this 3-bench swing, then they would come out with the odd-looking thing in the middle. That's also a real-life case. And for them, how I personally deliver stories is quite often through fear. I don't want them to feel scared, but I will tell them about fear. Sometimes when a feature, when it matters to the feature, when the feature is built to save someone's life, it can happen in manufacturing. Then death and actual life deaths that I have read from somewhere, that I have encountered myself in manufacturing career, unfortunately, then these stories will bring them immediately the point that that's bad when this happens. How can we change that? Then I will tell them, how can you contribute to changing that? And if you are going to tell this to them, then they will charge to the rescue. Of course, fear is not the only thing you can use there. Fun works very well because team has to enjoy themselves. And also, when we talk about the roles, I play these things as well with them. I will try to put myself into shoes of some of the struggling manufacturer and make them understand how I feel when I'm that person. And this is how they can start not only building features, but bringing value to me as product manager as well. As when they understand each and every aspect of our users, of the companies who are actually manufacturing things, they will review whatever I wrote to them. They get really challenging. And I often feel like I'm the stupid guy here. I don't understand about manufacturing because they have to ask me these kind of questions. Well, I'm not a person of detail. So I'm not really very good at explaining everything to the tiniest point of detail just to deliver the point, to get that rubber swing out of their code. And this is why they actually make it happen. They will teach me. Yeah, there is somewhere the laser. They will that wasn't not what I wanted to do. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, and but why it's important? I already mentioned it with that swing. So you have people who understand the end user, who are actually building the product you are trying to build, are exactly on the same page. They are aligned. You don't have to wait for the customer to explain to you so that you can explain it to team who is designing something awfully wrong, and then understand the customer wanted a wholly different thing. You will explain it through the roles. They will understand it the same way. And this was actually why I wanted to share the passion of storytelling with you. I am not very, how to say, I'm not born to be a product manager. That's why I have the benefit of doing things a little bit differently, ask questions, how and why we do things. And this have served me well, this have served Katana well. We are very happy people in Katana. And we are not happy only because our families are happy, but because we are happy there to work together and trust each other and tell the stories, not be afraid to tell the stories, not being afraid of playing with dolls. And that was my passion. That was shorter than I expected, but thank you. We have a lot of time for questions.
Taago. Now we will have some questions from the audience. I hope you have prepared lots of them. Can we, yes.
To me, what you described reminds the technique of making personas or avatars in product management. And I just wanted to confirm it's the same idea behind your storytelling. I can share that in our company we also use this persona technique in some teams, but we make it less formal than you do with these cartoons. And we also find it helpful, especially to describe to technical people like developers. For example, some teams I manage, they build a line of components, visual and non-visual components for line of business applications. And our typical end users are like bookkeepers. And for example, we had a funny persona called grandmother bookkeeper. And I even draw some pictures. And of course, there are attributes associated with this persona. For example, in line of business applications, we have like typical input forms, and those forms have, for example, like hundreds of editors, like about dozens of records to define performance of the application, for example. And for me, the success was when developers and also designers started to use all those attributes into account when designing a product, especially for UX designers, because at least in our company, most designers, they like air a lot, I mean, on the forms. And when they see that how much data they have to put, they reconsider and bring a different design. Same for developers.
Thank you. That is actually a very good point that you brought out with personas. And I think you used a magic word there to make it less formal. As we have also practiced, I think, since the beginning with personas in Katana as well. But in the very early days, they were just someone thought about a role. It was very official role. It was documented. The role does this, and this. And it didn't have any feel to it. But then when you make a grandmother bookkeeper, that's a whole different thing, because bookkeeper can actually be someone's grandmother. I immediately start to relate with that. And I can also relate to that. I'm sorry to say that, but glasses maybe don't see very well. There can be many different aspects. I would insult some grandmothers if I start to talk more about this. But that's exactly the point. And that will go exactly toward the story. You make people feel not only about who the roles are, but you make people feel also how these roles feel in their everyday life. For example, we are using in Katana as well one onboarding slide, which is trying to describe an operator in manufacturing, the person who is actually doing things. And how the slide looks, you have to imagine now, is the roll that is rolling asphalt pavements. It's vibrating heavily. This guy is sitting there, pitch black darkness, and he is using this astronaut suit. And he has to put thread to a needle on that situation. That is an operator in our perception. Of course, it's a very caricature, if it's a word, approach to operator, because they are not all experiencing the same things, but they can experience immense cold, they can experience vibrations, they can experience darkness, any given thing of these things they can experience. And if you are building a software to cater these people, you have to know that, you have to understand that, same way as you have to understand the grandmother bookkeeper. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Do you have any other questions? Yes, a gentleman in the front row.
First, thank you for your presentation and what you have provided us with. I'm wondering, regarding the picture that you have showed us first, the picture of the minions, then the pictures of what the user wants and what the designers understand, and then what the user actually needs. And with storytelling, I'm thinking of this notion of the tacit knowledge or the know-how of users. And it's quite informative to be able to bring in innovative solutions. I'm wondering here, how aware are you in your methodology of the potential biases that you might have? And then what do you do to mitigate the potential biases? Thank you.
Thank you. That is exactly a very, very good question. Definitely, when I do storytelling, I have biases. I have no doubt about it, because I'm coming from electronics industry. And if you are thinking about food industry, then you don't eat phones. You eat something else. They do things differently. But that's why I'm saying also that this is not perfect yet. We are going toward it. And what we do today is we are interviewing a lot of our customers. Because one thing that manufacturing expert can very well do is communicate with another manufacturing expert. You can be whichever industry you want to be. I will find a common language with you, and I will understand you much better than some other person from other areas of life. This is how they will contribute to my stories. And these stories will also contribute to the other product managers who are not maybe from one manufacturing industry, so they can start relating to that and use the same, I wouldn't say expert language because I tried not to use that, but the approach to approach our users. So they can research our users better and use their knowledge and know-how to deliver exactly the better stories next time. But we also are going to involve many more manufacturing experts from different fields to teach us where we are biased. And definitely I want to know where I'm biased. And my company is not able to tell me that at the moment. That's why we need to seek this bias from outside who challenge me as a manufacturing expert in the company, driven to be a product manager, where I'm biased at. So I like that question.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions? We can still take a couple. You want? No? You're about, yes, you want to have a microphone, please.
Hello. So regarding storytelling techniques that you use within team in order to work out what your customers/clients need, I like the examples of using dolls and using Lego items to tell stories. What other storytelling techniques are you considering using in team?
Another good one.
We have a fantastic public, don't we? Like
Yeah,
audience.
yeah, we do have a fantastic audience. That's why I said hello, friends. I must be honest with you. I don't have many good ideas at the moment. I will find out in my next product demo.
Maybe you would. Maybe you have something in your mind.
Yes.
I'm also kind of speaking from a background in theater, because I do it on an amateur basis. I do like the idea of leveraging improv theater in order to figure out what your clients need. So, for example, you role play as a certain role, and then you figure out what that role needs by throwing yourself into a pretend situation they might be in. So, I like the idea of using live. I like the idea of using theater. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, design fiction is a whole thing. You can write stories around your roles and what they need. Mm-hmm. I haven't tried them out very extensively though. So
maybe you guys should network.
Actually, this brings to from my memory one event where our people in Katana used role play toward each other. So it was a role of customer call, and that was exactly the case which brought also the similar feel to the company. That was actually one of what is the word? One of the reasons I started exploring role play storytelling in the company, as I saw this was so engaging. So I wanted to try it as well, but my own way. But your examples were really good. Thank you.
I have a super quick question. We're about to run out of time, but I really, really want to... of course, if you have questions, you can ask first. But it seems that I can do for that. But, did you do any storytelling when you were working in the electronics and in the manufacturing business?
No, I didn't.
I wanted to ask you, like, what's the difference between, because I've worked in manufacturing industry as well, and like, I cannot imagine doing like this type of storytelling that you do at a startup in that very different environment that a manufacturing business is, though I kind of feel it is changing, but...
Actually, I did. I worked in manufacturing, of course, like, I don't even want to tell you how many years ago. But what I realized there was that I quite often happened to translate information in between, for example, our finance team and our manufacturing team, because they didn't speak the same language. I had to be the translator in between, because I understood somewhat the both sides of it. So
I
this is
think
the difference.
that could be like a topic for other presentation, right? Because it's like a huge, huge topic. Thank you so much, Taago, for this really insightful talk.